Hi. My husband and I bought our first house in 1979 when I was pregnant with our first child. We got a fixed rate 15-year mortgage with a monthly payment of $290. In the early 1980s, the floating or adjustable rate mortgages became available. For some reason, our bank thought, the bank where we had our mortgage, thought that it could, of its own volition, change our fixed rate mortgage to a floating one. Now, obviously, my husband and I couldn't make changes in the contract we had all signed, but the big bank thought it had the right to change it however it took a notion. It didn't like our loan anymore and knew it could make more money if it just broke the contract. We got a letter telling us as much and revealing what our new payment would be, which was more than the $290 that we'd all agreed to. At the time, I was a legal secretary, and the law office I worked for happened to be the legal team of the bank where my mortgage was, and our offices were up above the bank. The month we received the letter, I walked downstairs to pay my mortgage. I had no intention of paying more than the $290, which was all we had agreed to, and that's what I did. But when they handed me back my receipt, it showed that the bank had taken most of the money as interest, which should not have been the case had they continued to honor our legal and binding agreement. I talked to my boss about it, and you know what he said? He said, "Yes, they can do that. They're doing it to me, too." I was like, "Well, they're not doing it to me." So I went to a lawyer, a different lawyer in a different firm. Well, I think he had his own firm, but anyway, he worked in a different law office. And he said, "Don't worry about it. We're getting up a class action suit against them." And you know what happened then? Well, the next month, everything was back to normal. The bank didn't want to be sued. Now, anybody with a lick of sense knows that a bank can't just change a contract because it wants to. It's illegal. Any lawyer worth anything knows that. Any mature adult knows that, and probably some children know it. The whole point of a fixed rate mortgage is to guarantee that the borrower will be protected from market fluctuations. So did my boss know this? Did he even check into it if he was so ignorant he didn't know? I don't know, but I doubt it. After all, the bank was a big client. My boss made money off the bank. More money, I'm sure, than his mortgage was about to go up. Now, why am I telling this story? Because this is not unusual. This is how people act. If they're benefiting from evil, they call it good. They don't ask questions. They don't check into the matter. They just go along to get along and get their reward. This is how it is in religion, too. If a person enslaves others, it's evil. If a god does it or tells humans to do it, suddenly it's good. If a person kills a baby because they're angry at its father, the person is evil. If a god does it or even tells him to do it, he's still good. If a parent sells their daughter to some man, the parent is evil. If a god says it's fine and dandy, suddenly it's good. Why? Same reason I think my boss said the bank could do whatever it wanted. The bank was giving him a reward. Yes, that's why people ignore the evil a god does. He's giving them a reward. Or a person might do this to keep from being harmed. In my boss's case, it was both. He wanted money from the bank and didn't want to lose money from the bank. Reward and punishment. That's what it's all about. Unless my boss was ignorant of the law, which I seriously doubt. I mean, I knew better. And it's both in religion too. People ignore the evil of gods, both so they won't get punished and so they'll be rewarded. And as with the bank situation, whoever else gets screwed in the process, oh well. Kick your son out if he's gay. Kick your daughter out if she's pregnant and unmarried. At least you are pleasing your God, so you won't be punished, and you'll get your reward. Throw your family under the bus. It's all about you, right? By the way, this works in politics too. If people don't like you, you'll get eviscerated for wearing a tan suit. But if they do, because they're getting rewarded, even if the reward is only to own the libs, well, just like the gods, you can do no wrong. We've all heard the excuses. There are a lot of them. He didn't say that. Well, if he did, he didn't mean it the way you think. You're taking it out of context. I'm sure he had his reasons, and we're not aware of what he's aware of. It'll all work out in the end. You just wait and see. We might suffer for a while, but it'll be worth it when those mansions or tariff money or whatever starts rolling in. He used to do that, but he no longer does. It wasn't him. It was his opponent. Be that opponent another human, devil, or another god. The truth is, these days, politics and religion go hand in hand. The founding fathers said, don't let that happen. Christians begged to make it happen and used their voices and their money and any power they might have to bring it about. Not long ago, I was a third party, more of a listener, in an argument between two Christian women. The woman who opposes our present president told the other woman who supports the president that she needs to repent of her support of him. Sometime later, the second woman, president supporter, said she didn't want to talk about politics. She'd talk about religion, but not politics. See, the problem is she voted for the man because of religion, not because of her political views. And the other woman was speaking from a religious perspective as well, because she told the president supporter she needs to repent. She was saying that the supporter of the president was sinning. Honestly, this is how it's always been. This is not anything new. It's called the law of Moses. The law. It was and is political. And it was set in place to wield power. Use religion as an excuse to destroy others and enrich the religious and political leaders. The priests, prophets, judges, and kings told everybody else what to do, controlling the masses, just as those in power do in politics and religion today. Christians today want to help their God bring about an end time and the return of Jesus. They think the President of the United States is the chosen one who will make it happen. Nobody told them that. I mean, they just made it up. And they support him all the way, no matter what he does. And just as we all know certain behaviors of Yahweh in the Bible are evil, for instance, killing a child to punish his father, every single person hearing what I'm saying here knows that this is evil. Yes, you do. At least anybody with a lick of sense knows it. Ask anybody. Just ask. Just say, do you think it's evil to kill a child for what his father does? Every last person will give you a resounding yes, that's evil. But with religion as well as politics, they refuse to see, or perhaps pretend not to see, the evil perpetrated by their God and their favorite political and religious leaders. And all this is why we can't have nice things. It's why we can't improve society and take care of people and the earth. It's why some treat others like second-class citizens. It's why some are walking in high cotton while others are struggling to find enough food for the day. But it's not about morality. None of it is about morality. It's not about goodness. It's not about doing the right thing. It's about pure selfishness and greed. We know that because they overlook evil just so they can have their own way, just so they can be rewarded and or escape the wrath of whoever has power over them. Religion and politics are the reason for most of the evil in the world. And political and religious leaders will use their power to harm the rest of us until we stand up and say enough. Thankfully, we're doing that with regard to both religion and politics these days. And I have hope that someday, it's probably after baby boomers are dead, maybe even some Gen Xers too. But I think eventually the world will be a better place. I think we're getting better, or some of us are. I want to thank Pria Cotterell for her support, for her financial support. I really appreciate all the people who support me in any way. Thank you all. Bye.